Hi, in this video I just wanted to talk about how injuries can affect our body image and sort of how difficult that can be to deal with when you are injured and unable to do your sport. It's something I have personally struggled with a lot, especially because I'm dealing with a more chronic injury. I've been kind of unable to play the amount of tennis I'd like to for over 4 years now. And I'd be lying if I said that it didn't have an impact on my mental health and specifically my body image and self-esteem. The reason why I'm making this kind of personal video is because I think it's really important to, be able to hear that other people are kind of going through a similar thing. Like, my hope is that by sharing my own experience, it can make you feel a bit less alone if you're dealing with a similar thing. Because when you bottle things up and you don't talk about it and no one around you is talking about it, then it makes you feel very alone with your problems. It can make you feel like there's something wrong with you. I've certainly felt like that quite a lot. And so I'm just really wanting to make this video to just make some people feel less alone with their problems. I wish I could kind of offer a miracle solution to poor body image and stuff like that, but that's not the point of the video. The point of this video is just for me to share my own experience and for you to hopefully find a bit of comfort in that. Now, one of the key things through this whole video is about just your relationship with your body. I found that it's really difficult when you're injured to sort of keep a loving relationship with your body because, you're stuck in this conflict of your body is preventing you from doing the things you want to do, so you can harbor a lot of resentment against your body. It can be very frustrating, and then that sort of negative self-talk can translate into poor body image, not liking the way you look, wanting to change things about your appearance. It can be a very sort of toxic relationship that you develop with your body. I've definitely experienced it. I still experience it now. We hear a lot of people who give advice about how to have positive body image, and one of the main things that I've read is sort of the mantra, if you will, of don't love your body for how it looks, but rather for the things it allows you to do. A way to feel body positive is to be grateful for the things your body allows you to do. And I found it really hard to kind of put that into practice because I can't say, I'm grateful to my body because it allows me to play tennis, because it doesn't. So it's kind of paradoxical in that way, and it's hard. It's really hard to deal with that, and it's completely normal to then begin having thoughts about how you hate your body because it doesn't allow you to do this, or your body's useless, you're broken, you're unfixable. There's stuff like this that you can kind of let yourself get into a negative spiral with. In my own experience, I've had friends who would jokingly call me kind of nicknames linked to my injury. On their Snapchats they'd put the emoji with the bandage or the crutch emoji, stuff like that it's seen as just banter, but it kind of begins to become part of your identity, and it's hard to deal with because you don't want that label. And people don't realize, even when you have people around you, your friends, who sort of joke about the fact that you're in pain all the time, or that you're injured, you always get hurt. It's hard for you when you're hearing this sort of stuff from within yourself and also around you. It's really hard to feel positive about your body and appreciate the things it does. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is probably the most obvious one, is that when you're injured, you're most of the time not able to be as active as you were before your injury, and there's a lot of stuff that comes with that over time. Personally, I found it really hard to sort of accept the way that my body has changed. I used to be a lot more slim than I am now. I used to, not really care about what I ate because I was so active that it didn't make a difference to me, how much I ate. I wasn't thinking about it, whereas now that I'm a lot less active, I am more conscious of what I eat because I'm scared of eating too much, putting on weight, things like that. It's hard not to feel that way because you see on social media, we have all this diet culture, so many people are focused on appearances, and as much as I don't really want to care about how much I look, I'd be lying if I said I didn't care. because I think everyone goes through it. There's so much pressure to look a certain way, and when you're not able to exercise, it reinforces that pressure to you. At least that's what I've experienced, and that's been something really difficult to deal with. Trying to accept that my body is going to change, that I'm not as athletic as I used to be, and that is okay. I have to learn to accept that. And this also can kind of seep over into your relationship with food. Like, I've personally gone through times where I've felt very guilty about things I've eaten, because I'm like, I'm not as active, I'm gonna gain weight, I'm being unhealthy, I need to be super careful about what I eat, and like it kind of spirals off into this anxiety that is sometimes difficult to control. And I think it's important to talk about these body image struggles and like relationship with food struggles, because this is a lot of stuff that is kind of taboo and that is stigmatized, and people don't really want to talk about it because you're ashamed, or you feel like that makes you less of a person in some way. But obviously, like, that's not true. It's as hard as it is to talk about it. Like, I'm doing it now. Talking about it is helping me, and I hope that it can help you as well, that you're not alone. And this isn't stuff that is just limited to if you have an injury. Like, lots of people struggle with body image and their relationship with food, even without injuries. But I'm just talking about how this has been in my own experience as like an injured athlete. Now, linking to that, I want to talk about the idea of comparison, and there's kind of different types of comparison I want to talk about here. Personally, I've dealt with comparing how I look now to how I used to look before my injury, and I found that just doesn't do you any good, because you're comparing some person from a long time ago who had a completely different situation, who wasn't injured and was of course able to do more things physically. And so what is the point in comparing yourself now to then? It's just hurtful to do that to yourself, and that's something that I'm trying to do less. You're gonna wallow in this cycle of like comparing to what used to be, and this is not the sort of messages you need to be feeding yourself when you're already going through a really tough time just dealing with pain and injury. Another thing I want to say about comparison is obviously the comparison between you and the others around you. Like, something I've struggled with is comparison between like me and other people around me who play my sport, whether that's friends or like opponents or teammates, anything like that. It is hard not to even have that sort of subconscious comparison of how you look, or the things your body allows you to do. And so that's something that is it's important to talk about these things, because again, like, no one talks about them. So I hope that this can make you feel kind of less alone if you are experiencing like a similar thing. So that's all I'm gonna say for today, because it's quite a lot of emotional things for one video already. Please let me know if you can relate to some of this, or just any of your thoughts on what I've said in the video. I'd be really interested to know what you have to say. And I will just end on one last thing, is that through this time, like, I have learned that it's just so important and beneficial to, like, this is gonna sound so cheesy, but like, to be kind to yourself. And that doesn't have to be excessive self-care, as in when we see taking a bubble bath or whatever. Like, that's not the only form of self-care. Like, what I'm talking about here with being kind to yourself is just accepting that you are in this situation and that things are difficult for you, and that your inner critic and this negative self-talk is literally not going to help you in the slightest, and that can kind of help take some of its power away. So just remember to be kind to yourself, breathe, remind yourself of all the good things you like about yourself that have nothing to do with either your body or your sport. You'll probably be surprised by how many things you can list if you take the time to think about it. And just remember that your experiences, your emotions are completely valid, because I think people don't really realize how much of a toll an injury can take on you mentally, a lot more than physically, especially when the sport is such a big part of your life, or it's been an injury that has, been going on for a long time. And I just want to say, if you're going through this, you're doing a good job, you can do it, and I hope you can find my channel helpful. So I will see you guys for another video very soon. Thanks for watching, bye.